Hi Baba, welcome to the Your Belong podcast, where I interview inspirational outsiders who choose to be themselves rather than belong. And just de facto, by you're gay, you're Muslim, society kind of treats you like an outsider. Do you feel like an outsider yourself?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. It is tough to find the right kind of balance. Um, I think a lot of it stems from how much I can be myself without like infringing on my security and my safety too much. Um, it's not been easy, but I think through social media a lot, and I think because of social media, I've kind of been able to find other people like myself, and I've kind of been able to express more of myself and actually kind of understand who I am a lot better. But yeah,
So
that's it.
where do your safety concerns come from?
I've always heard about people being outed to their families and stuff. Sometimes people are outed by other South Asian gay people as well. Sometimes by people who just have something against somebody. So being outed is, of course, like it can be very traumatic. It's very traumatic. Like I wouldn't want anyone to be outed because it's really not safe for a lot of us. If our families find out about us and stuff like that. But so
So when you say out,
I took
do
the
you
I
mean like they would tell people that you're
oh yeah, type of that we're gay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The best thing I could do is to not like really show my whole identity. Um, I didn't really share my real name. I don't really share my real name on social media and stuff like that. And that kind of allows me to protect myself basically from stuff like that. Especially because with Asian cultures, it's very like everybody knows everybody, and it's this whole thing about bringing shame and on family honor and stuff like that. And I did not want to be outed. No way. It would be way too dangerous. Even now, I think yeah, it would be not a good situation for me.
so have you haven't come out to your
No,
family
no,
then?
not yet.
Do you think you ever will?
Um, I am literally waiting for my just like financial independence and like for me to move out, and then I feel like I'll be able to. If right now I put myself in too much of a compromising position, and I wouldn't want to do that to myself. That's it, really.
Do you feel like they suspect anything?
I actually came out to one of my sisters, one of them, and she was very, very shocked, and I was shocked that she was shocked because
Yeah.
I would have banter like with her and stuff. Like she's my closest. It's like there's like 2.5 years between us, and I didn't think she would ever suspect that I wasn't. Like she would see me doing the most stereotypically gay stuff. I would dance in the kitchen with her. I would do whatever. Like, and she was very shocked when she found out. And I think we didn't speak for about 2 weeks. And then afterwards, she was okay with it. She was cool with it. But she was really like quite emotional as well. I wasn't expecting her to be so emotional, but she was like crying about it, and she was like, "Oh, it must be so hard." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of just had to get on with it. I'm 22 now. I've kind of had to just get on with it and just like find my way to live and balance it and stuff like that. But the rest of my family, maybe they suspect it, but they would never. I don't think they would ever like outwardly come to me and ask me straight up.
That must have been really difficult to see your sister cry at
Yeah,
news that's like just your identity.
yeah, she cried. I think she cried because she felt like it must have been so. I don't think she was crying because she was like disappointed or something like that. I think she just kind of was just like, wow, like I had no idea, or she was really shocked. And maybe it's because I'm very good at portraying myself in one way, and I can switch like however I want to be perceived, basically. Um, so maybe that's why. But I again at home I don't show my full self. I have to show a version of myself, basically. So I guess that's probably why she was so shocked.
So when did you realise that you were gay?
Honestly, for me, I think maybe 5 or 6. I kind of always knew I was different. Yeah, very early on. Excuse me. Very early on, I kind of knew I was different. I think, you know what? I'm not into all the same stuff. I feel different. Like, why do I feel like this? Whatever. And then I think maybe 12 or 13, I was like, yeah. I was like, no, this something. No, this is. Yeah, I'm definitely not straight. And then it was a whole. Oh my god, teenage years was like denial and a lot of self hate, and especially as a gay Muslim. wondering, do I really want to be here? Is there a point like of me living like, you know? And I think at some point I just got exhausted with it, and I was so exhausted with trying to fit like some kind of mold or trying to fit into someone else's box and other people's like box. And I was like, you know what, I am literally living my life for myself. So yeah, I think that was pretty much the journey. And now I'm kind of at a place where just kind of striving for freedom basically, and being my true self.
That's amazing. So did you actually get to a really low point in teenage years? Where did you ever have therapy or anything like that?
I had no therapy. I didn't even tell anyone about it. I just went through it because I think, especially being South Asian, I think in the culture it's hard to talk about it. It's really hard to talk about mental health still. I know in the few recent years it's been a bit more easy to talk about, but back then maybe that was maybe like 8 years ago or something, it was not. And I felt quite embarrassed as an Asian male, like you're not really, this whole idea of like being masculine and, you know, not really showing your emotions and stuff like that. And I was very much trying so hard to pass as straight. I was like, no, I have to, because it'll make my life easier and, you know, I'll be able to kind of get through it. So that's why I never had any therapy or anything. I'm actually finally getting therapy, I think, in about 2 weeks' time. I finally said, you know what, it's time now. And I've managed to get an appointment. Like, I actually have a friend on Instagram who showed me like how to, like, you can self-refer yourself and stuff. So yeah, I'm hoping things will get better.
Everyone needs a bit of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You keep saying about South Asian culture. Would you say that's the thing that's really like jars with homosexuality? Or would you say it's also religious culture?
I think it can come from both. I feel like it can come from both. A lot of people would say, however they want to say it, their own views about it, whatever, right? Whether it's to be accepted, whether it's not to be accepted. And then it goes further than that. Some people will go as far as to say, like, send other people death threats. Like, I have a friend who chosen to wear, like, he wears makeup, and he's Asian, and he's been getting death threats and stuff like that. It's very toxic, and it's a lot from the straight Asian men, because they feel like it's an attack on their masculinity if they accept like gay Asian men. Basically, if they ever like publicly accept it, yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, really.
So when was the first time, or perhaps the worst time, that you experienced discrimination based on sexuality?
I think a lot during like my teenage years and stuff like that, and then more recently, like online, sometimes it would just be like a lot of random messages from different accounts or anonymous accounts and stuff like that, just sending a lot of hate through. But of course I can block it out. But yeah, it's still there. It's still there. I can, as much as I can, you know, ignore it or whatever, it is still there. There is still a problem, and I don't think it should have to be like that. And I hope one day it doesn't have to be like that for other like South Asian gay guys or whatever. You have to go through this stuff.
Yeah, and to have to change your name and not publish your name on your Instagram account because of the hate that you're getting as a just normal, you know, young 22-year-old guy, that's just not okay at all.
If I had, of course, it would have been. It would. I think it would have. I would have had to shut down my account or something, because it would be too much. Like, they would get back to family and all that kind of stuff. But in a way, being, you know, Karen Baba, in a way, it's allowed me freedom. If I had not made it, I would never have got to meet like basically all my friends now. I'm not able to see all these other people like who I can like look up to, or I can see them living their true lives, whatever, and really just like being themselves. And it's actually motivated me a lot myself. Everyone on Instagram who I see, another South Asian, like just living their best life and being true and stuff, like it motivates me and it makes me feel happy, like, because there was times in my life I swear I would never ever come out. There was times I was very much I was like, I'm never gonna come out. I was gonna get married to a woman, everything. That was in my head, that was my path. And I was like, I would never do it, but it would be so unhappy. Like, my life would be so unhappy if I was to do that, and I'd rather just be myself. much rather be myself.
Yeah. And also
Maybe.
that kind of, the whole debate about whether you should have anonymous accounts allowed on Instagram and things because it can cause hate and stuff. On the other side of the coin, having anonymous accounts provides great freedom for people like you, right? So would you say that you would agree?
Absolutely. Having an anonymous account allowed me to, I don't know, get better in my head. Maybe I think in myself, and it allowed me to explore and actually see how different people and people who even people I could actually relate to. Because where I'm from, like I could not find anyone I could relate to at all. Had it not been for social media and for me having this on account, I would never be even comfortable enough in myself. That's it, really.
Do you think that your parents will try and arrange an arranged marriage?
I think they have mentioned it a lot in the past, but they kind of know where I stand on it now. They kind of know, I've told them no, it's not going to happen, and I think they really understand it. So I don't think they would anymore, but I think in the past maybe they would probably think it's probably something that they would want to do. But I'm kind of lucky in that sense that, I mean, I know friends, I know people who have had their family take them to other countries and try and get them married quickly and stuff like that to a woman from, for example, Pakistan or back home, whatever, right? But I'm lucky my parents have never tried that with me. But I do know of other people who are going through the same stuff.
Wow. I can't believe you're calling yourself lucky for that.
I know.
To Pakistan.
I know. It's actually crazy. I'm actually lucky for that. But I would say I'm lucky. But it's very, very common. It's very, very common. There are many people who are gay who have been married to women. So
yeah, that's heavy. Do you think there's anything that you could have done differently, or anything that you would tell your younger self?
Tell my younger self. You don't have to hate yourself so much. It's not. I think the self-hate and stuff is really. I guess it comes down to not really listening to don't care what people say. Basically, it's very hard as a teenager though. If you hear people comments about you and stuff like that, it's hard not to internalize that. It's hard to just block it out. Even now at 22, as much as I say, okay, I'm strong. People's comments are just what people's comments, but as much as I don't want to admit it, it does affect you. And I think, that's it really. I would just tell my younger self, it's your life, and everyone else's opinions of you and comments coming from their own insecurities and their own opinions, but you should just carry on what you're doing because you're going to be okay.
And would you say that you love yourself now?
Definitely. My self-love, especially from having a social media account and actually connecting with other people and seeing other people like myself and seeing people who look like me, seeing people who I can relate to, has made me love myself a lot more because I felt so alone for all those years.
And do you ever feel scared walking the streets or anything like that? Or
yes, definitely. Even now, I think I actually went out last week in Birmingham, and there was a homophobic attack in Birmingham. I've seen a lot recently around the UK. So it is scary. And I have friends who wear makeup who are just a little bit more femme. We've had walking around. We used to hear a lot of comments. Luckily, I don't think anything physical ever happened. But walking around Birmingham and walking around Leicester, these cities that we went out to, we did hear a lot of comments from other people. But so I definitely think about it. I just make sure I'm getting from my car or from the Uber quickly as possible to the place, and making sure there's security around, or not walking down an alley by myself.
So do you think your race choices matter more, or your sexuality, or do you think you're discriminated on one more than the other, or is it kind of like the intersections of both?
I'd say it's a mix. But I think it is mostly the homosexuality is mostly from other Asian people. I don't think I've really much experienced homophobia from non-Asian people as much, basically.
Okay. So it's kind of like the intersections of culture and stuff.
Yeah.
So are you religious?
I'm not religious, no.
Right. So even though your family is Muslim and you grew up Muslim, Is that like a conscious choice that you've made in adulthood?
Yeah, I've had to definitely make a conscious choice. I wouldn't say I would still say I'm Muslim myself, but I think I had to really, really had to put the work in to distance myself from like the Muslim community, a lot of South Asian community. I had to really distance myself and just to be by myself because at the end of the day, no one can tell me what I am. Like no one apart from God, right? So that's it. That's what I've kept hold on to myself, and that's what has allowed me to carry on basically the way I
So
am.
you believe in God, but you wouldn't say that you like belong to an organized religion,
Yeah, I wouldn't say I belong to organization.
right? And so is that like out of necessity? Is that kind of like you felt like you were pushed out of it?
Mm, yeah, actually, yeah, definitely. I was definitely pushed out of it. It made me very wary of even going to religious spaces, being around religious people. I just kind of do my own thing by myself, and that's how I do it really.
Have you met religious people who have said their religious justifications for homophobia?
I have, and I know people who preach it as well, who like preach, stuff like that. And I also know. I mean, I wish they would talk about it more. Like, I wish they would talk about it not being such a like a not being an issue and it being okay. But again, people shy away from it a lot because of the culture, really, and how they will be perceived if they even talk about it. So that's why these conversations need to happen because if the conversations don't happen, you will never have like any actual change. Or just carry on with the same. Everyone's just
Yeah,
staying quiet about it.
yeah, it's really courageous of you to speak out because, I mean, like you're saying, you have safety concerns anyway.
I hope on my Snapchat and stuff like that. Even people have told me, "Oh, it's actually helped seeing you," and I was like, "Okay, that's actually something worth. I feel like it's worthwhile um, that I'm, pushing." And I have been outspoken about a lot of it, and there'll be people who cannot even be as open as I look or as open as I seem, who have to live very no through no fault of their own. They can't be open because it's much too dangerous. They can't even make an anonymous account with their face on it.
Yeah.
They've said it's helped them, so I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a bit of an inspiration because in order to like, you have to put yourself on the line, and also after everything that you've been through as well in your life, and to think that
Yeah.
you said sometimes you don't even go outdoors, and then now to be speaking out on behalf of people who are like really attacked a lot and getting hate for your Instagram account.
Yeah. It's a lot. There was times I used to have, especially like I think I was like 17 or 18. I had very very bad social anxiety. I could not even go to like a H&M store by myself without like it was actually a panic attack. At the time, I didn't know it was a panic attack because I never talked to anybody about it. I just kind of had to. I held it all in, but I used to like it was like excessive sweating and I couldn't breathe. I was like, what is going on? Like, but I had to just I don't know. Over time, I've been feeling more confident in myself and stuff like that, and it's gotten a lot better. But yeah.
So what got you through?
Personally, what I did is I'm not sure whether this works. It might not work for everybody, but for myself, I used to push myself to do things that I was really scared of. It might be a bit crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the healthiest option, but I mean, I did it. I used to go and eat lunch alone every day by myself in the city centre. I used to eat like lunch alone every day from sixth form. And I was like, let me just be here in this space. And oh my God, nothing bad is happening. Nothing bad ever happened, actually. It was just, I was so scared of it. But nothing bad actually happened. And slowly, I've been getting better. So yeah. I even went to, the last time I really said, I'm going to push myself to do something scary. I went to Nicki Minaj concert by myself. That I'm very proud of. That was like a milestone for me.
Yeah.
I went by myself, a whole crowd of people. I'm thinking, oh my God, everyone's looking at me. I'm by myself. This one brown boy, But I had a great time. And I'm so glad I pushed myself to do that because it kind of just validated that, things in my head, what I'm perceiving as so scary, probably not that bad in reality.
Yeah, I bet you did. That's strength as well. Like to be able to do all of that, and like loads of other people in your position wouldn't be able to come out that well, which is what's so sad about it as well. So yeah,
It is really, really sad. Yeah, it is really sad. I do consider myself lucky that I've been able to handle it okay, but then again, everyone's situations are different and kind of quite heavy. There are definitely people who have had, you know, suicidal thoughts, and there are people who have taken their own lives because of stuff like this. So it does need to be talked about, and I really hope one day that it doesn't have to be so difficult and so much of like society's pressure and family pressure and stuff like this, because it is just making people unhappy, very unhappy, and it's making people not want to live their own lives. So yeah, I know a lot of my friends have been in some dark places, even myself, definitely, especially those teenage years. Wow, rough, really rough. But I'm glad I made it out.
So what do you think that we can do about it? Because low self-esteem is probably pandemic among the gay community, especially if they have cultural ties and things like that. So is there anything you think that practically people can do?
For me, what's worked is finding friends and actually being able to be fully open with my friends and being fully open around them. That's the only thing that helped me. That because of course I didn't go to therapy or anything like that. It's finding people who you can be your true like self around. I used to have like no friends that I could be myself around with, and I pushed for it, and I'm at a place now where I'm so lucky. Like I'm literally in my friend's like house right now, and I can come here and stay, and it's so like calm, and it doesn't make me feel like an alien or something. It makes me feel like I'm just like a normal person. Like it doesn't. I can have like a normal 22-year-old experience basically, instead of having to hide all the time.
So would you say that these friends, you need to find people like you, so they're gay, or are the friends that you're staying with?
No, they're two straight girls. But I love them to bits, and they love me too. So I actually have made a one gay girlfriend. She was actually friends with one of the straight girls too, and she's also Muslim and South Asian too. So meeting her, having conversations with her, has shifted my perspective so much, and it's made me feel much better about myself. If honestly, she's been like amazing. I feel so lucky to have someone I can relate to on that level and in that way, who really understands and gets it and can pull me out of sometimes when I'm feeling really bad about it. She has almost like knows exactly what to say.
So what do you think would happen if you ever came out to your parents? Do you think they would be eventually okay with it, or?
I don't think they would be okay with it. That's the reason why I haven't really spoken out about it yet. I think it would be a case of me having to leave home or being kicked out, really. That's the reason why I haven't. And it's hard at home to juggle, like how much of myself I can be myself and then how much I can't. But I'll be okay, I hope. But yeah, they would definitely not accept it, and it would be out. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So do you think they would stop speaking to you, or do you think that at some point you will do it just for your peace of mind, or do you think it's easier?
I had to learn. Me and my parents, I had to distance myself from them a lot emotionally, because I could see how toxic it was becoming, and I have to prioritize myself and my safety and my own, peace of mind, because it could get really bad. So I distanced myself a lot from them, like emotionally and stuff like that. I actively took the had to distance myself, and then so that when I do leave, it wouldn't be, maybe this is very unhealthy. Maybe this is unhealthy, but this is how I've coped with it. So when I do leave, it wouldn't be so much of a hurt, or it wouldn't get to me as much. And I think, yeah, that's it really. Yeah.
Wow. So you've literally trying to prepare for this day.
After maybe a few years now, I've really been thinking, it will come, the day will come, and I've been preparing myself for it. Yeah.
My goodness. What? So you've been emotionally distancing yourself just because you're prepared for them to basically reject you?
My whole thing is, if I reject you first, you can't reject me. And that's maybe that isn't happy, but I mean, it is the reality, and it's really all I felt like I could do to have some kind of control of the situation. So yeah.
No, I hear that. That's a very common response or coping mechanism. I feel like I do that as well in emotional situations where if you reject them first, then you have the control. But then if they turn around and don't reject you, then what do you do?
If they don't reject me, wow, it would be a miracle. Honestly, I think I'm so,
Yeah.
but in my head, I'm so sure they will. So
You're so
I'm
close in
so
your
sure that
head.
they will reject me. So I prepared myself so much in my head that I can't even really imagine what it would be like if they were to accept me. Um, but I don't
Wow.
know what.
So when you were a child, did you get along well with them? Was it kind of like all
Um,
easy, but then
it was okay. I've had some more problems with my dad. And my mum, she was a little better, but overall, they were okay. It was okay. Um,
what makes you so sure that it will be a
um,
rejection then?
I think I kind of know their views and how strict they are and how rigid their kind of mindset is.
Are they aware that you've kind of distanced yourself from
Yeah,
Islam
they're
or
definitely
their
aware of it.
version
They're
of it?
definitely aware of it, and they're also aware that I distance myself from them. I have to try and escape. I try and that's why I'm so lucky. I have my car because I just drive and I go away. Because it's literally like I can carry on and just feel happy or like balance in my mind or something. So yeah, they definitely know.
Yeah. And they're not okay with it, I assume.
I think now that I'm 22, I don't think. I mean, they may not be okay with it, but I don't think they will say anything to me about it much with you now. I think I'm no longer a child, no longer really like under their rule too much, and I pretty much until I move out, I'll be completely financially independent, and I will not need to rely on them for anything. So yeah, I don't think they will really say anything to me.
Do you think it is possible to be gay and a Muslim? Do you think it's
Yes,
possible to? Okay.
definitely. It is. No one else can tell you. No one else in the whole universe, right, can tell you who you are and who you're not. And there's no other Muslim can tell you that you're not a Muslim. Like you can do whatever you want to do, but you can still be a Muslim. Like it's people. I think a lot of the time people give themselves too much power or give themselves, okay, I'm going to tell you about yourself in that kind of way. But it's really, even like, it's known, you cannot tell someone else that they're not Muslim. You can't, like, and I think it's actually a sin if you do. So, yeah, I definitely think you can be. It's not easy. It's a lot. It's not easy, but I think you can.
And identity is so subjective anyway. So
Yeah, true.
yeah. Oh well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for
Really
having
good.
me. Thank you for having me so much. It's the first time I've ever really spoken about it
Oh wow, I'm
properly.
honoured.
So thank you so much for having me. And yes,
Thank you. Yeah. We'll speak soon.
we'll speak soon too. All right.
Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.